So if you're looking at it from head to toe for both of these teams, you're definitely going to run on a high on Blue Water's side, especially if they're going to be running behind this firepower that Fair has brought to the team. For YFP, though, they haven't changed their composition. As you know, the Des has mentioned, we do have a small change coming out here for the side of Blue Water. That said, this Neon, very rare to see here on a map like Split, but you can already see from the very beginning how quick she could be on map control.
And that's just Penny being Penny, I think, is the biggest key to that point. So see if they can try to find a way to kind of keep combining the utility of the Breach Tejo that we know and some of us love, some of us cringe at, and Penny's aggression that comes out. So we've seen other teams run this kind of composition and find a lot of success on the offensive side. I think the biggest question mark comes down to how do you make sure you're still finding efficacy on the defensive side of things. So for Blue Water, you know, this is kind of the same situation. It's just you're running an ISO. So, you know, again, you're going to what a quote unquote like free entry with the double tap shield, and then you're going to let Bob do Bob things. But we'll see how that all unfolds as it's a free A take here to start for YFP.
Yeah, Blue Water just stacking over on the B side, thinking that they had some tape here on YFP's speed of attacking on B side and pistol rounds. But yeah, that's the biggest question for Blue Water. How can they play the retake when they only have that single initiator? Thankfully, though, Zeke has a drone and also has salvos to work with, so they can already start engaging and initiating very quickly here towards the elbow.
Ooh, that stealth drone actually gets past the dark cover. Won't actually get any suppressed, as YFP are setting up the post plant a bit more dynamically. B-Dog, good little counter flash here against the salvo. Gives himself a chance. Good help from Jake. Trades are even, 2v2. Over the top, now just down to what happens on this site. Really good paranoia, but Jake has to commit through. So able to get this thing to halfway before the salvos get placed. Snake fights to follow. Jake finds themselves a third. Just down to Zoe. Has to jump on, but not going to be able to. Jake right there for 4, and YFP will hold the pistol.
Dude, what a huge kill from Jake, too. He did it an absolute 180. when Roy was mentioning at the desk, like, you want somebody like Jakey to keep popping off, well, Big Bean continues to deliver. And yeah, it's bags of beans that we're currently getting in terms of frags out of this guy. What a nice little 180 he got onto Bob when everything was looking so good on Blue Water's retake in the first place until he throws his paranoia, and then the utility was still very good on the pulse, but despite Zostel staying alive and smoking for the team. But you're already seeing here, Shift, that Blue Water seems to want to be stacking and fighting just B consistently, at least now because they're playing the anti-eco, but yeah, Penny's just owning.
Yeah, that's just, again, I love what I'm seeing right now for YFP. I know it's early, but just kind of how they broke down that A ramps break off when the barriers drop to now seeing it here at B. You put the salvos in the corner, you push up with the stinger. It forces you to make a decision. Like, if we get out of this corner, I got to deal with the stinger. If I stay here, I'm dead to the salvo. Like, it's just really good dissection of the site so far for YFP.
They had to deal with a Phantom as well from Penny buying on that second round. And that's what Blue Water was expecting in the pistol round. For Penny to run in, they would have a 4-player stack, and you could just crossfire and unleash your fury against the push. But that said, Blue Water already loses 2 players in the process, already getting pushed back by the second wave of util. Yeah, that's a nice pick. But it should still be around here for YFP unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, it's just one of those, like, any picks you find are good ones, and Zeke misses an opportunity there on the Stellar.
Yeah.
So this will make the life of Blue Water's retake pretty much impossible, you'd think. Here comes the double swing, not going to work out. And Zostel up top, well, yeah, this is going to be maybe trying to find a pick for an exit or just sacrifice yourself to the spike. So good opening here from YFP. Again, I think just that burst tempo right off the get-go, really solid stuff. And that's going to be a problem for Blue Water, even if it is full purchase.
Yeah, and the thing that I like at least as well from this composition for Blue Water is that they get to start on split first. So there is going to be a big responsibility still on Fireball Ups and on Zostel to stall as much as you can because you're not playing Sentinels, right? Or the Sentinel role on your side. So you're hoping here that Fair and Bob could really unleash with the double taps, work together with Zeke. Though that's probably going to be the 3-player tandem trying to fight into that position so that they could actually, shut down YFP in the early portions of these rounds. If not, once they take the attack side, you're going to have a bit of dive, yes, with Bob, but you're not going to have too much util because you don't have fault lines breaches to really help the satchels of Bob to gain that space.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And I think also just to kind of throw the narrative out there, we can let this kind of marinate, foreshadow a touch. Like, watching YFP play this map versus Lander, or at least looking at kind of the results from it, they did take 7 defensive rounds, winning the half 7-5. So, kind of already showing us that there is a little bit of counter consideration for, how this newer composition has fared to this point already. on both sides of the spike. So just things to think about.
For sure. The thing is, for Blue Water as well, when they were just playing the last time against Prosperity, they're still playing double initiator with the Breach and the Tejo, and getting a lot and most of their rounds on defense as well. So already falling behind by 2 and already activating an early double tap from the pressure on middle. It shows here that they're not necessarily uncomfortable, but they are trying to learn on the fly how they could react against the plays and aggression that YFP has because of their own double initiator and Neon on top of that in terms of concusses and whatnot, you know?
Yeah, it's so hard to deal with a Neon if you don't have things like Cypher in the way. So.
Exactly.
I like the conversation, Vance. I really do. 50 seconds on the clock here, and YFP, well, we'll see what happens when this Poison Cloud fades. Yeah, Penny's going to give this a look and misses a shot with the Outlaw. Bob still tucked in the corner, but a dark cover will replace, and YFP will head over to A.
And it's a goodbye. 4 of them currently have half shields, small shields, etc. But the important thing as well from the compositional change from Blue Water is that Bob switches away from the Tejo to the Raze, and she's been playing Raze nonstop during game changers. So now you're taking away like having to go back and forth between 2 different roles, and she's about to get this super flank on even the spike carrier.
Yeah, that's so big. The commitment's already in for YFP. The salvo lands, and Bob has done more damage than is required, you would think. Paint shells, the delay, the hit from the Paranoia, blast pack as well. Boop and Jake out of the way. That is a perfect read from Blue Water, and I think a lot of it is just, again, Poison Cloud fades, you put a dark cover there, you shut down the play. They have to commit somewhere, so why not try to play through sewers? And it's the perfect read from Bob.
Exactly that, the perfect read from Bob, especially when she's being challenged early, or should I say in the mid-round, by Penny's Outlaw. And then rechecks, sees that Penny's gone, decides to walk down and realize that nobody's there. You have the read now that the hit's coming towards the A site. Because for the rest of YFP, despite them playing this double initiator, there was no utility being utilized towards the B side. There was no push and pull. So yeah, it became an easy read towards the end with the stack. Now though, with the lore bot that they have, they're going back to the tried and true B side hit.
Ooh, and it's going to be a couple of stingers still in the purchase here for YFP. But first 2 kills go the way of Blue Water. So they have met this resistance, or this opening burst, I should say. They've met it with good resistance. Slowed it down convincingly in the last round, but more importantly here, keeping YFP a little bit more level set, not just staying on their toes the whole time. And this will be a very difficult 3v5, and it may not lead to anything. This may just be a save.
They're just waiting for the smoke and hopefully punish one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not this time around. And yeah, with that said, you see them slowly backing out and still one watching the flank. So you're just hoping here for YFP's end that somebody's going to be a little bit too antsy and start pushing where it wouldn't make sense for them to push towards to and punish that and bring the numbers back in your side when you still have a minute to work with.
Yeah.
This was still a forced buy on their side, and it looks like they still want to commit for the fight.
Well, I think they're just trying to find a pick still, and Zoe just has enough space behind screens. Stay alive. Bob's going to find some more. One away from the showstopper, and is going to find it. Clean shots for Bob. And now Jake is stuck. There's the double tap. Good shutdown, though, from Jake. Giving Blue Otter something to think about. Here's the pinch, and Fireball will find the final elimination. 2-2 we go, but dire straits financially here for YFP coming in around 5.
Yeah, this will definitely be an eco going into this round now for YFP, but I felt like we were missing a slight bit of util towards the flush out Zostal in the back of the billboard. It was a good read in the first place. They spammed it, they aftershocked it, but not having any salvos in that back when they tried to go for the repeat, that is a slight mistake because you saw that Zostal just avoided the radius of that aftershock, swung out with a double swing with their teammates, and then just got the easy picks towards main when YFP thought it was clear the whole time.
Here we go, another quick burst. Salvos are out. Penny trying to play with that same timing through A ramps. This time Bob prepared for it with a little bit of overkill. Throws the showstopper right down at their feet. Finds the first blood, and again, YFP are stuck. This is a Blue Otter team that, they cooked up some comps when they played 2 days ago, and they're cooking up another one here. It's looking good. Reset on the spray, not good enough for Fireball. So one shutdown there. Zoe only catches one of the 2 up top at tower, but for Stellar, this would be a very difficult 1v3, especially with the reveal. And you've also got the contingency being thrown. Double tap, keeping him safe. Follow up. A little messy, but Zeke will find the final, and Blue Otter up 3-2.
Oh, you're just so lucky that you pop your double tap just in time, because he breaks the shield, gets dicked through the balconies and down at 22 HP. That should have been a kill towards any other agent. That said, and would have probably given a chance here for Stellar to maybe even win that second fight on top of the balcony. And this was also, you know, a lure buy that you had for YFP and almost took away 3 or 4 weapons in that fashion. But you at least took away the showstopper on your attack side for YFP. So you'll take it. You'll have a decent buy going to this run here. But now the stacks aren't really happening as much here for Blue Water. You are jump spawning for Zostul in the first place, and they're just trying to find a timing here so that they could maybe fight against that. And yeah, I love the smoke. That stops them. That stops YFP from getting anything done. They got smokes everywhere so far, and YFP has no choice but to wait all of this out.
Yep, and I think that's the big key, you know, and this is not something that is any stretch of the imagination new, but again, Poison Cloud runs out of Toxin, you replace it with the Dark Cover. You force this utility. It shows the hands of YFP who are going to clear out ropes. It allows an opportunity for Fireball to kind of play off of some intel that Mail is not safe. You also got the ISO Fair right back over to make sure Vent stays isolated.
No distractions.
Trying for the kill contract, but nothing there. And oh no, that's just going to bait Fair. I mean, I don't know if Fair thought that they had everything covered over towards the top side of Vents, but it's not the case at all, and YFP are going to come away with 2 kills.
Zostul takes control of B main though, and they could be in a good spot to do some backstabs if they can. So this smoke is just to fake the pressure that they're still inside the site.
Well, that kill there
30 seconds
puts
left.
this round into a bit of non-contest, you would think. Yeah, Stellar's salvo's good. So for 1, okay. Fault line comes through. Aftershock was there, but Petty finishes with the classic. We're tied at 3.
And that's the thing, you're playing with no info. You're droning and whatnot, but at the minute mark, you're thinking, okay, well, there's no pressure happening towards B. Nothing's happened towards A yet because we had some players playing at that spot. They have to be adding some pressure towards mid. So I respect the fact that Fair went for the ult, but somehow went between 3 players and couldn't even contact into 1. And unfortunately, thinks that the rope is, or Vents is clear and gets punished for that. So that's one of the big play Hail Mary makers you're trying to do here for Blue Water on the defense, and fails this time around, but the intent is actually quite nice.
Sensor drone early for YFP, playing with a little bit more pause than what is going to be a full gun round, but the operator is the big part. Yep. Armageddon, though, you have an Overdrive, you have Rolling Thunder, Stealth Drone trying to find some sort of a pixel peek on the pop, but doesn't connect. Poison Cloud is back. Penny's just going to kind of step into it and then step back. No worries there. And we'll get to 60 seconds. And, you know, Blue Water may have some idea that there's a little bit more of a stack here at B main, especially with that little bit of pre-fire coming through.
Yeah, and Penny was just walking through decays, but these ults doesn't allow for you to play inside the site. So the 2 players on defense are getting ready to find a timing push and main. And it works!
Wow. Just beating the timing before the X can come through. Armageddon's going to come up, find nothing. Defense on the rotation over, as it's, you have to commit to this. If you're YFP, you can't back out. Not now. Stellar finds 1. Wow, the flash actually allows Stellar to stay alive throughout all of this. Bob does connect with the op. Zone the back of the site has Stellar weak. Trying to team up on this is Thief, and it's going to be down to the 1v1. Now, Bob has connected with the op, so Thief's going to be very cautious about trying to peek these shoulders, but no! Bob up top can't quite predict the peek, and Thief will get the round for YFP.
And she was she was zooming in that spot. Just unfortunately couldn't react fast enough to get that peek there onto Thief, and Thief's able to save that round for YFP. But that was just a nice little attack from both sides. When you saw here the read coming out from Blue Water that you're about to explode into the B site with the ults, and they decide to challenge that, and it works out. Look at the amount of on-the-fly util that comes from both of these teams. It became a brawl. You had to be the best in your duels, and it came down to a 1v1. That was just really nice Valorant from both teams in terms of reactions.
Wow. It's going to be a fun battle here. Armageddon now queued up for Blue Water. They want it. Overdrive still ready for Penny. Might only be used, I was going to say, if there's a need to maybe clear out things like a Viper's Pit, but that may not be the case here. Blue Water already getting up into B main and already finding first blood at A long, so this is going to have to be some sort of a hit for B tower. They will get that ground to work with, but with Blue Water holding into B main, this B site's not going to feel good to hit.
Yeah, you have everything. You have B main control, you have Armageddon to prevent the push. The drone even saw a bit as well. They have good stalls and delays coming out here for the defense for Blue Water.
Oh, nice opening there, though, from YFP. And the fact that Jake is expecting another could be big. Armageddon called out, so able to follow up for 2. Penny stuck now in a bit of a corner. Zeke will connect with just the Sheriff, which is all they had to work with this round. So, good turnaround here. Good bounce back, I should say. Not really a full turnaround for Blue Otter, as B-Dog will be left with 1v4. No spike and not a lot of time.
Left.
Yeah, probably not a lot of chances to convert this round either. He's in sandwich, out in the open. It's been good with util before. Probably one of the higher, best flex initiators we currently have now that he switched away from M80 into this team. But that said, not going to happen this time around. If anything, I thought there was a little bit of a mistake coming out from Fireball Ups to just walk back for contact into main. But I think it was just a selfish play as well. It gives you all that information for Zeke to pull out the Armageddon. You don't expect the second player towards main. But Zosol was able to cap 2 with that one as well. So that's, in the end, turns out to be a pretty decent play. Off again, reaction of a slight mistake. Potential mistake from Fireball Ups. But they're so good on these reads and the stacks.
Yes.
Look at this.
And here comes a quick tempo overdrive out. Nice flash, but Zoe still catches one. That's not bad because Bob is in position to stop this hit almost completely. And plus the drop down from Blue Otter's looking decent. Bob in trouble. B-Dog will get the trade, pick up a weapon, but fair. Careful. It's a 5-4 game.
I mean, Fair had a slow start for Blue Water against SRB just 2 days ago, and then just popped the hell off the other 2 maps, especially on Haven and Ascent, playing from ISO to Jet, and he just needs that little moment. So when you're starting to feel that confidence, they're definitely going to be a dangerous team to play against right now for Blue Water. And like I said, they've been good on these reads so far. This time around, though, YFP, they just want to focus on engaging with the double initiator and the neon, just to try to get entry.
Ooh, good contingency. YFP going to be held back and vulnerable by this, but Jake still connects on the opening headshot. Fair. Ooh, a little bit stuck at the moment. But Blue Otter, they're going to give this up for now. Zoe. Oh, this timing could be critical. Fireball on the other side. No pre-fire yet. And this decay is going to start to be really punishing for these defenders that are still stuck in it.
Cover going out.
And how all of a sudden Jake might get completely isolated. Paranoia gets tossed. But YFP, they're going to connect. Zoe only finding one. Not going to be enough, and Bob will just save the op.
That's crazy. 2 of them were looking into the corner of the elbow, and none of them decided to spray. They just didn't want to give their positions away because you're playing with Vandals. They decided to walk through, and they thought they had a timing until both Stellar and B-Dog did the exact same thing. I think it was Stellar and Jakey, if I'm not mistaken, or Stellar and Thief in the pit. Just walks out, gets the 2 picks from behind, and they're able to convert the round in the end. Yeah, it got very chaotic in the first place, but I think YFP are starting to realize that staying as a group and just fighting with a bunch of util flood into the site hits seems to be the correct play, because they've been better in the overall trades against Blue Otter so far.
But again, it's small moments, small windows that are the difference maker at the moment.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think for both teams, just again, fighting for their lives, trying to fight for those final spots. And what we're getting is a very back and forth affair. Full purchase still largely available for this next round. Armageddon back in play though for Stellar. Kill contract back up again for Fair. And it'll be an early Viper's pit down through B, or pardon me, through main, which is going to force the action largely towards B, is what I was trying to say.
They were just starting stacks once again here for Blue Otter, so they are also understanding that YFP are getting successes by 5 men hitting sites. And then now that you have a pit down towards middle, though, when you're going to start here a drone or anything, this is definitely going to be Fair ulting it. Oh, he's going to miss again. No, he got him.
No, he got one. Got Thief. So Armageddon is out. That connects onto Fireball. Fair, though, gets one in response. So trying to hang on towards tower. Fault lines dealt with quickly. Good isolation from YFP, taking advantage of this. And yeah, I was about to say, Fair is just so far out of the picture. It's just one of those things that, like, when the kill contract gets called from that position, it's a really good awareness point for YFP to be able to follow up, scale over, and give him no exit. So just down to Zeke 1v3.
Somebody's at your door. Go answer it. I'll take over for you.
Alexa loves to tell me random notifications.
Alexa, it seems to be a 2v1 right now in the post plan, and Zeke is going to have a hard time for the retake. They're already using the salvos. You got a good spot towards that back. Look at the reflank that you have from B-Dog. So even if Penny dies, it's planted for B-Dog, and they should be in a good spot here for YFP to convert this.
There it is. That's a really, I think, just how you play alt for alt right there for YFP. I don't know if they get a full read that they know the kill contract's going to be coming somewhere through mid. Like we had already seen that kind of happen before. But regardless of that, you get Fireball out of the Viper's Pit. You continue to keep Fair posted back because the kill contract, as soon as he gets out of it, has him still sitting in vents. Like you can see the entire way, the spike is just looking backwards, and then you have Jake right there to make sure there's no follow-up. So again, it's just really good dissection of the round for YFP, not letting the chaos take over there.
Yeah, it was a nice little ult for ult that got good value for both sides. If anything, more on the Armageddon and take down Fireball ups to allow YFP to take that mid control. So
agreed.
A little bit of a mistake coming in from the side of Blue Water for one of the rare moments of this half. That said, though, it is the last round of the half, and we're going tit for tat. And Bob still has a showstopper to work with, and it was looking to potentially bait Zolstol first, but losing that fight so early and so far away, there's no retaliation there. And now Blue Water's in a tough spot to try to tee up the game in this half.
I was about to say, it's where that contact comes through. It's a long angle over towards Ramen, so there's not even the ability for Bob to think about even satcheling forward to try to force this showstopper, but making a second chance at it. There's another little bait, but Fireball wins the battle. Zeke, before the Poison Cloud goes down, does get a little bit of separation. Follow-up is trying to get here, though. It's going to be a double-up hit, maybe, but the special delivery actually kind of holds back the play for a little while longer, but only for a little while longer. And Fair is going to have to do some impressive stuff here if they want to try to hold this site with a Guardian. Nope.
No defend. No defend from the Guardian. Showstopper for the Hail Mary. He'll connect.
Last player standing.
Bob's not alone.
And no utility. So got to do this the old-fashioned way.
But you can do it.
Yeah, have shown it before. We've had some unreal clutches this week. Not here, though. 7-5.5. Again, not bad, really, from either team's perspective. I think, though, YFP a little bit more happy about, again, just how this half started. And that's the difference maker. It's the quick burst in the pistol. It's the quick burst in the other site for the anti-eco. That's your 2-round difference. Everything else has been even keel.
Yeah, and Zeke had me chuckling a bit because he had good util, but was just trying to creep away from A Heaven without trying to make a sound, and then finally caught up to him. And it made it very difficult for somebody for, like, Fair to really anchor towards the elbow site by himself with that Guardian. And at least YFP, fast tempo on the attack works out for them. And we'll have to see if on the defense, it could actually provide value, which it should, because technically you don't really need your Neon to be dashing around or rushing down these areas as much. And she, if anything, can rotate a lot faster than any other agent so far on this map. So on paper, YP should have a stronger defensive hold versus, again, that lack of utility that we're mentioning here from Blue Water, a lack of initiator utility on their attack side.
Exchange of salvo, not really going to deter the setup, nor necessarily give indication towards a hit. So just kind of feeling things out here. And just to kind of reflect on how Blue Otter had played the double duelist in the past on Tuesday. A lot of it is just when they decide to go, you're going to get one level of initiator utility and then a double tap forward, which is essentially what we're getting here, but no double tap from Fair, at least not immediately. Stellar will break and still win the battle. That is critical. Follow up from Zeke on the corner, not expected. Gets the trade. Is there more? Doesn't need to be. Plant is already underway. Zeke can just keep fiddling with this, but how about that call? YFP just runs through it. At least one player does. Zeke's still dealing damage, though, and Zeke will find 3 in the round, leaving Thief on site by themselves. Would be a 1v4. You're getting a pretty decent read at where it's happening at, but Blue Otter just run him down, and there's no worries there.
Yeah, we went from a little bit of misstep from YFP's side because Stellar getting picked right after getting the first kill shouldn't have happened. He should still, at this level, at his level in his caliber, know that, you know, he should still be taking his spots. But after I realized, okay, well, these guys are actually finally starting to catch up and group up here on the defensive side so they can trade. And then suddenly, this happens. Thief runs through, leaves Jakey alone, and then Zeke is playing 3 individual 1v1s that he won each and every single one of them.
Exactly.
What just happened there?
Well, I think there's a level of like, you know, you almost just want to ignore, you know, the Zeke in that position because he's just playing out time. So you're just trying to run past him. But
the spike's already about to get planted.
Exactly,
So there's already going to be two or three players down there supporting the spike plant. You're just given a 1 versus 3 towards the balcony side, and that, unfortunately, a fumble. And Blue Water has a perfect opportunity now to tie up the game.
And that is what's going to happen. Bob off to the firing range with the Marshall. I think all those are no scopes. We love that. In a world dominated by outlaws, all it takes is one Marshall. This is Valorant Wild West Edition.
You had to throw a sheriff in there or something, you know?
I know.
Well, let's talk about all 3 guns.
True.
And the classic in there because it's just the classic round.
This is classic.
What else can we use?
You can go to the whole Phantom Ghost Spectre type deal.
Yeah, right now, Blue Water is vandalizing YFP.
We missed Vandal. That's also like a Wild West type deal.
That is also very true.
He's a
I
Vandal.
never thought about it. I never thought about it until now.
He's a Vandal. We need a new weapon. It needs to be called the Renegade. And then
No,
you have
Roy's just gonna.
And then you have Shorty, Bucky, and Judge because why not?
Is that how they did it? Everybody was sitting around the round table at the right offices and be like, "How can we name our weapons?" I just watched a movie here from Clint Eastwood. Let's just call them all weapons. Let's get back into a gun round. 7-7. Spikes down.
Destabilizing.
Well, there goes the undercut. Contingency still ready for fair if they want to try to use it. Just holding this position at tower. Nice counter flashes coming through though.
Beautiful.
Paranoia and the flash point coming out. Fireball responds though with an offensive play in towards screens and then upgrades the weapon, but no, can't make good with it. And that might be a 1v1 we reflect on in terms of how the outcome of this round comes to be.
Yeah. If anything, Blue Water did a great job creating all of that ruckus towards middle to allow Fireball to lurk up towards A, but a fight that was lost now puts Blue Water at a disadvantage. But at least Bob's in a good position. Outline hand, couldn't find the timing. Wall just came up on the defense. It's up to Zolstel to make the play.
Well, contact after this dark cover is going to be critical. Jake playing at screens, kind of watching 2 things at once. Outlaw connects. Here comes the play through dark cover, and Jake doesn't even check the close corners. So now it's just down to Thief. And all of a sudden, a 3v2 turns into a 1v2.
Yep.
Thief on. Nope, later. That's just individual 1v1s determining the outcome there for Blue Water, and that's going to be a huge bonus for them starting off their offensive half.
And that's on Bob once again, just finding the perfect timing. She did so in that, 3rd round when they were playing their bonus, and then this time around with the Outlaw. Walking through the wall, getting the pick towards heaven, then your focus is off from that smoke. And that allows your Zolstel to also win an individual 1v1 in the mini gulag against Jake. And that just makes it difficult there for YFP to convert back in the round. Yeah, this is slowly slipping away here for the side of YFP. A bonus round, again, that gets converted on the side of Blue Water. Stinger buy for YFP, and they're not really stacked up to go for any instant trades, so they're just hoping that individual positioning, closing the gap against their opponents is going to be what would render a success on their side on the defense here with this buy.
Yeah, this might end up being a round that starts to look like how YFP played offensively, where let's see if we can get early information, get a prediction on where Blue Water are going to try to attack. We can stack, and then we can try to re-attack the site once they've already taken it and try to flood them with stingers. Catch them in close quarters. That might be the only option here for YFP.
Yeah, especially when I have ults on your side to work with. You got shut down in the first 3 rounds, so nobody's really cycling close to these ults for the side of YFP. So right now, Blue Water, though, still giving a lot of respect to the side of YFP. We remember, we talked about they don't have too much to drone with, and it's already been used by Zeke, and he's stuck towards his B side. So they're just trying to sell a fake with salvos, and Penny wins that fight towards the A side, and that's going to give a chance now for YFP.
Paranoia out. Fireball able to connect onto 1. Penny kept interested by the snake bite. Armageddon's also called through. It's a long rotation, but that is an aggressive play from Penny that works out. Now you've got some sewer control, at least ramp control to fight. Fair's going to hit the double tap. They don't know where exactly Penny has gone to, but the extra lease on life thanks to the shield will work out, and we'll get a 3v3 post plant.
And Planet once again for Heaven, and they've been good in these spots for Blue Water. You have to start hurrying the tempo for the side of Jakey, though. He's too late on that flank.
Yeah. And that little spray through the smoke just makes matters worse here for YFP. Jake going to be looked at. Good fault line coming through, but B-Dog still falls. And now it's just down to Jake for the 1v3 in technicality. That works. Wow, the snap was nearly there as well. Zoe trying to play off the timing. Spike going to be toggled. And again, shoulder. Hi, how are you? Whoa, headshot connects, but just through the wall. And there's not going to be enough time. That's so tough. Jake hit it, but it was right through the corner of the wall. Won't even be able to survive the round to tell the tale of it. So 9-7, Blue Otter up big.
And I respect that Fair actually peeked out for that one. I thought it was planted for a heaven no matter what, but then it was actually planted at a default spot and safe. And respect to that. Why they planted there. They were getting dominated at the very beginnings of these rounds when, especially when Penny won that early fight over towards that A site when they were trying to sell a fake here for Blue Otter towards B. So you plant safe, you're hoping that your weapons are going to be performing better than the others. Jakey almost makes it possible, but Zolstol has the HP, has the wall to save him. And Blue Otter now continues this lead. Winless are YFP on the defensive side, but at least they have weapons to work with this time around. They made it close with only stingers, and now we talked about the old cycles previously that I didn't have. You're getting closer and closer right now for Thief and Penny, and they could maybe start snowballing some rounds back in their favor here.
Okay, opening first blood for Fair is good. Follow-up even better. Didn't even need the double tap for that, by the way. That is just a raw 1v2 up top. Little play off the ropes. Penny, relay bolt. Going to be able to peek again. Fault line with that. Good snake bite, but Penny's still able to find a win. But it's just, how do you get back into sight here? 3v4? Penny low. Overdrive not going to be called, you don't think. No. Fair's going to get caught. That's a mistake. And so now it's a 3v3. This becomes doable, and Bob, keep an eye on them to see if they want to try to pull the showstopper to save this round.
I need to try to create some space here so that Penny could get some value moving outside of heaven.
There it is. B-Dog shows the aftershock, bails away. Time going to be an issue here, though, for YFP. Here's the showstopper. It connects on Stellar on the corner up top on Catwalk. Penny for a follow-up. Still alive on 32 HP, but again, this is just taking too long. Yep, Satchel there. You've also got salvos. Won't be a chance for the defusal, but a couple eliminations will force some repurchase. Not that that's really going to stress out Blue Otter too much. They're pretty rich.
Yeah, exactly. This is 5 unanswered rounds now for Blue Otter. And YFP, that was mostly important for them to try to save that weapon. When it took so long to try to re-hit towards this B site, I think that should have been a call already to just fall back and try to fight into the next round. Especially here. Well, I guess it makes sense that you still want to try to do something with this, because I respect the timeout being called on YFP's side. This is one of those standards of, we could actually try to force around this Phantom that we saved, and then try to use this double ult that we have to maybe try to surprise Blue Water. So I think towards the end of the day, you have to be kind of reading the map correctly within the next round if you want to get the best value out of your Armageddon and your overdrive to fight against the takes here of I was going to say FlyQuest because Bob is using the FlyQuest tag, but Blue Water on their attack side.
This has been really good for Blue Water. And again, it's just, I really think the most impressive thing about this Blue Water team for me is, you know, I think just this week, like seeing them cook up 2 different compositions in a tough best of 3 versus your defending champs, and they both work. And now you're getting another different little mix-up with what they've been running historically on Split. You know, I think the thing is, like, as much as Fair has been impactful, I don't think it's been like a, wow, this ISO is just being unmatched or unrivaled. I think a lot of this is simply that Penny has not been able to get the same kind of space that they were able to create in the first 2 rounds.
They're going to go for it. They're going to try to quick pace down towards the market and potentially Armageddon if they get information. That said, Penny's going to find contact. And that's it. So you could actually save your Armageddon because you know the hit's coming towards this A side now. You just need to delay as much as they can here, which Thief is able to do with the snake bite to stop that split. But there has been one person that slipped through and died.
Fair will fall, yeah. Okay, so looks like YFP are going to get one back, and a critical one at that, considering that it's mostly Stinger purchase, unless Fireball can produce some of the magic that they had done on Tuesday, which was a lot of 1v multiple situations.
Cover going up.
Penny is low. Oh, that's tough.
Spike planted.
And now it's just down to Fireball. Would have to be a 1v4 plus the ace. Not going to be able to get through more than just the first one, though. So good stuff for YFP. And again, like you call it, I mean, you had the perfect prediction on it. It literally is just the fact that they do gut check call that playthrough market.
Yep. It was just understanding that. If anything, if there was more players towards that B main, you definitely will throw the Armageddon to add even more damage. But just Armageddon or salvos to a Paranoia to a Faultline was good enough to give this space for Penny, who still survives at 5 HP and gets 2 kills out of that round. It was a fight here that should have been won or at least traded out here so that Penny doesn't get that value. Actually, he gets 3 kills in that round, which kind of hurts on the side here of Blue Water. And you're happy here on the side of YFP. You get great value out of your timeout. You still have the Armageddon to work with towards this round. And we talked about the ult cycles that could cycle, that could snowball some rounds here on the side of YFP. Very important round coming up right now, as you see that Stellar understands how it's very important for him to stay alive. So he's playing so far back to try to assist with as much utility as he can.
That's tough. Thief going to find the first blood, seeing just the edge of the barrel of Fair, and then let him know about it afterwards after that aggressive body shooting. Whoa, but okay, that peak works for a trade. 4v4 will go here with Zeke connecting onto B-Dog. That's a critical defensive player off the table, too, with the breach down.
Yeah. Now, I think the important thing for Jake, especially now that you're playing kind of a little bit split off across the map, one covering every single lane here on the defense for YFP, you got to keep throwing one ways. Cover your B main. The other one has to jiggle. There's no more drones coming out from Stellar. But Stellar is also out of reach for him to try to assist with the Armageddon. So those anchored players on the extremities, you're hoping they're getting at least 1 or 2 in their positions because they're just trying to trade as much as they can.
Armageddon earned for Zeke, queuing it up immediately. Smoke out towards the backside of the A-tower connector. Penny will be flushed over towards elbow. That snake fight does not get where it's intended to go, though. It's just on the corner. So Penny's still alive and well, and finds an elimination. Oh no, the Viper's Pit trying to reinforce this defensive position, but the spike will still be planted behind that. And the tools for the defense are really just limited to a special delivery and a Paranoia.
Yeah, that sucks. It's just unfortunate. Oh, wait, Jake is finding the kill.
Oh, wow.
On Zeke. It's doable now.
There's the Paranoia. Here comes the flush out. Bob, backside screens, clean first. Satchel, it's going to find some damage on the Thief. Not enough to find the elimination, but low health pools regardless. But no, cannot predict the timing of the double swing. And YFP, critical round there. We're going to get themselves back to within 1. And more importantly, they're going to have Blue Otter at least somewhat restricted on their next purchase. They're still going to be able to fully afford, but they've done some good eco damage in the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, especially with some plants and some the bonus rounds they have coming through. You could try to salvage something here. The lowest buy that you're going to have is on Fireball Ups, who only has a sheriff to work with. But I do understand here, there was still a slight mistake in my eyes with what Thief was trying to do. He was trying to save his team, right? He's getting his teammates getting Armageddons, he's getting salvoed, like he's getting pushed, and you're just trying to throw a pit just to keep your teammate alive. But you also block all that vision to allow Blue Waters to move in and get that plant and even a spam kill onto Penny, who couldn't really just go for like the one and done inside the anchored spot.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my God, what a shot.
What a statement from Bob. I mean, in terms of, again, setting up a trap play for YFP, that's exactly how you draw it up. Everything hits. Thief, whoa, nearly, I was gonna say, able to find one to trade things back with this hit onto A, but Fair finds the kill. B-Dog trying to split the difference, dealt with by Bob. And a Viper's Pit will likely put this round out of question, especially with Fireball on a Judge.
I don't even think Stellar could escape. He's got to cross the whole pit in order to do so, and there's 2 players in there. Again, I think this has to be a call to save. Jakey probably has to leave Stellar left for dead, and then you just try to fight within the next round. If anything, just beautiful shots coming out from the side here of Blue Water to capitalize on these rounds, on all these positions to get themselves in a winning position here, or a winning spot in this round.
Well, it's going to be 11 for Blue Otter on YFP's map pick. The offense still looks really well oiled. Okay, a little bit of extra punish there from Jake, but again, not much that's going to stress out Blue Otter. And with, again, you're going to get a Rolling Thunder And that might be it if you're YFP. Like, there's likely not going to be an Armageddon scene again before maybe an overtime situation or about to be a game-winning situation if for overtime.
Yep.
And then the overdrive is a potential, but I don't know. This might be another timeout time here for YFP just to kind of talk about what's going wrong.
Yeah, I feel that they should still be okay in this position because Jakey sacrificing himself to get 2 kills here is going to keep the econ of Blue Water low. And you're playing split, so pull out a Judge on Thief who switches now to a Bulldog would have been a good play to play on this map. That said, it comes down to this one, of course. If YFP cannot convert this round, you'll have to call your second timeout.
Kill contract lands. It's fair versus Stellar. First blood good. Stuck on site now is Penny. And that's just not who you want in this position. Double swing here, or no. Jake was thinking about it. Does punish for the double tap falling, but these trades are more than fine if you're Blue Otter. 4v2. Bob one off from getting a showstopper. Armageddon close again. Like, you've got so many bailout tools here for Blue Otter.
You're hoping Penny's gonna get 3. That's the best thing you have. He avoided all that util, he has a chance.
First one's good. Relay bolt out. Fault line also does land to the player in the corner, but might not make much of a difference, and it will not. Blue Otter, 12-9 on YFP's map selection. This would be a huge statement. Now they've got the showstopper. They're one off the Armageddon, but you do have the overdrive, and you've got the Rolling Thunder, and you can see the purchases. You got a couple of shotguns coming into play.
That's the best thing you got, yeah. Jake, I mean, you saw Stellar trying to walk through, trying to break the shield early. B-Dog getting caught off the rotate, and it's so hard to play that spot against a Tejo when you're playing behind that map. And yeah, their buy is not the best, and I think you're just gonna have to. Even from the positioning, I don't think it's gonna be reactive because you want Penny to be at the tip of the spear with the overdrive. So they're just hoping that they can close the gap with the shotguns, with the weapons that they have, and it works out at least with the kill through the smoke onto Fair.
I like that idea though from Fair. Try to beat the timing of that poison cloud. See if you can catch someone off guard inside a mail, or maybe even over towards B tower, but it doesn't happen. But it's a decent idea considering you've got a couple of rounds to play with. Bob will be floating on an island over towards B. Salvos coming through. YFP trying to get aggressive, and no, shut down. Fireball. Huge 1v1 considering a lot of that utility was landing. Now Bob on the lurk has help because Zoe is already in the backside of the site, but Bob will drop. Huge kill from Thief. Rolling Thunder comes down. Spike not planted. Teleporting out though is Zostal. And keep your eye on the minimap here. Over towards the top side at A. If there's contact, could work out. B-Dog stuck in a corner being spammed down.
Oh my God.
And there's going to be a wrap, but Stellar has stayed away from this contact and could shut down this rotation from Blue Otter, but no, it's not going to be a wrap towards that. I thought they might try to join Fireball at mid, but not going to happen.
Yeah, and Thief is in a tough spot. They're 3 HP. They're pinching on him from heaven too. Just a good read on how Blue Water just dismantled that defense from YFP. He escapes, but he's got a Bulldog, man. He's going to get 1 only.
Well, that's a good participation in the round from Thief, getting 3. Salvo out. Zeke is low, but will escape it. Gets back over towards main, even tags. Oh, and then through the wall, spams it down. How about that from Zeke? How about that from Blue Otter? Coming into YFP's playground, it's a huge gut check opener from YFP with aggression on the pistol over towards A. The follow-up towards B looks like everything is going to start to amount towards them just getting away with this neon play style. But then really after that round, we don't see that same kind of burst efficiency that we had in the beginning. And then we switch the sides and Blue Otter look comfortable on their attack with this double duelist.
Yeah, the best look that they had there on that burst was that last round where Penny got punished. The fault line was